Tara Reade, a former Biden staffer who accused Biden of graphically sexually assaulting her in 1993, now has significant further corroboration to her story. Her former neighbor, Linda Lacasse, a Biden supporter, which I think is really important, which is why I included it in the title, tells Business Insider, great reporting by Business Insider, that Reade told her about the alleged assault in detail in 1995 or 1996. This happened, and I know it did because I remember talking about it. I remember her saying here was this person that she was working for and she idolized him, Lacasse said, and he kind of put her up against a wall, and he put his hand up her skirt and he put his fingers inside her. She felt like she was assaulted, and she really didn't feel there was anything she could do. I don't remember all the details, Lacasse said. I remember the skirt. I remember the fingers. I remember she was devastated. This is huge. This is someone who has no incentive to lie. Absolutely none. Except to just tell the truth. And that she was Tara's neighbor and that this story was told to her. And so, again, I just want to thank Business Insider for their reporting here because weeks ago, the New York Times tried to squash these allegations and say that they couldn't find any corroboration. Maybe if you called her neighbor. Business Insider did that. Maybe the New York Times could have, worked a little bit harder, the institution, the New York Times, to do journalism, which they're supposed to be doing. 2 more sources have come forward to corroborate certain details about Reade's claims. One of them, a former neighbor of Reade's, as I said, has told Insider for the first time on the record that Reade disclosed details about the alleged assault to her in the mid-1990s. The other source, there is a second source, Lorraine Sanchez, who worked with Reade in the office of a California state senator in the mid-1990s, told Insider that she recalls Reade complaining at the time that her former boss in Washington, D.C. had sexually harassed her and that she had been fired after raising concerns. This also comes as the great Ryan Grimm, I always call him that because he's a wonderful reporter and a TYT contributor, DC bureau chief at The Intercept. He uncovered audio that it seems pretty clear. Tara Reade says this was her mother, who's now deceased, calling into Larry King for advice about a senator. It was vaguer, but another piece to corroborate the claim. The mother was asking about her daughter having problems with her boss, who was a prominent senator. Didn't talk about these details exactly, but another piece. So the bare minimum that true blue Democrats are hanging their hat on here is that Biden definitely was super creepy to many women, including Tara Reade. So that's the baseline accusation. They can't go below that. That's what they're okay with. Okay? But now there's ample evidence that he assaulted her. And they're just ignoring it. I saw Kamala Harris. She said that she believed Biden's accusers during the primary. Has she said anything now? Oh no, that would jeopardize her vying for a vice presidential spot. Just a reminder about the details. In interviews with Insider, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and politics podcaster Katie Halper, friend of the show, great, awesome progressive who broke the story about the assault allegations, a good reminder there. Reade has said that in the spring or summer of 1993, she was told to meet Biden in a semi-private corridor to deliver a duffel bag. Okay. There she said, just a little shady for Biden. There she said Biden pushed her up against a wall, reached under her skirt, and penetrated her with his fingers. When she resisted his advances, Reade said Biden expressed annoyance and said, "Aw, man, I heard you liked me." It sounds like Biden. Then she said he pointed a finger at her and said, "You're nothing to me." After that, she said he shook her by the shoulders and said, "You're okay, you're fine," before walking away. So this sounds like Biden. Do you remember in the presidential debate when Elizabeth Warren was talking about the CFPB and Biden just snapped on a dime, got so angry, and screamed, "I got you those votes," which is a lie. Can't you see that anger in that statement there? Look, if you believed Dr. Ford, which I did, you cannot claim to not believe Tara Reade because the fact pattern is so similar in terms of the amount of corroboration that there is. You can say, I but Trump is also a sexual assaulter, and he's so much more horrible in these different ways, so I'm going to vote for Biden. Fine, you can make that case, right? You can make that case. Certainly, that's intellectually honest. But trying to gaslight us and say that there isn't corroboration when it's the same level, if not more, in terms of corroborating evidence that Dr. Ford had, it's vile, it's slimy, and it delegitimizes the Me Too movement, which has been so important for many women, including myself. And it's gross. And it just goes to show that many Democrats didn't actually care about the principles of the movement. They used it to try to torpedo. They tried to torpedo the nomination of Kavanaugh. But for most of us, for people who actually cared, yeah, it was more than that. It was more than a political tool. And this complete silence on this issue, this complete hypocrisy, just gives fire, just gives ammo to all of the horrible actors on the right who tried to say that this was just a political show. And do you think the Senate, I bet they hold hearings for Biden. That's going to happen. Democrats better be prepared. And they better be prepared to stand there and explain why this is different than Dr. Ford. Because it's not.